Hi, friends and fellow Earth Angels. It's Gladys, and welcome back to another one of my pick a card readings. And I'm offering this spread to support you through the upcoming full moon in Scorpio. So it happens on May 7th. Time depends on where you are in the world. And it is believed that this is the most powerful full moon of the year. There are festivals all over for this, usually celebrated under the Wesak Festival. So what is the full moon? The full moon is an intense or an abundance of energy pouring down from the heavens onto the earth. And it can be a time for opportunity, or it could be a time of crisis. So the unawakened souls tend to experience full moon energy in crisis. They experience hiccups, bumps, disagreements. Anger can come up, frustrations. Spiritual people see it as an opportunity, and they can use the full moon energy to purify yourself, bless loved ones, bless projects. You can magnify your own good qualities, and you can heal the earth. So it's a powerful time to accelerate your spiritual growth. Millions of people all over the world will be praying and meditating during this full moon. So I encourage you to really capitalize on this energy. Interestingly enough, in my Moonology deck, the full moon in Scorpio, the message is it's time to release negative energy. So this would be a great time of reflection on what programs, old beliefs, old ways of doing things are you replaying over and over and over again. If you've been following along my weekly Sunday card readings, the angels really haven't been ginger coating. They've been really calling us out, saying, hey, you need to heal these areas of your life. You need to come back in balance. It's strongly encouraged to come back to spiritual traditions and rituals and disciplines, whatever word you want to call it, to seek balance. It's finding that place within, and in that inner place of stillness within, it creates and shifts your world around you to match that vibration. So here we are in 2020, and we're being forced in this quarantine energy to look at and face our weaknesses, our challenges, our faults, right? With family members and our jobs and significant others and your children and even your own addictions. You know, this is part of the human experience. I say so often it's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just part of the growth process. You know, I truly believe we have two paths in life. For Earth Angels, we have our soul mission, and that's the work we do in service of others. And we have our spiritual journey. That's our inner work. That's our shadow work. That's our work that we're doing on spiritual growth. It's our pathway to higher levels of light, whatever that means to you. And so what's happening with Earth Angels, their pathways are starting to merge into one. For example, you know, pre-doing this work 13 years ago, I was a paralegal working in a law firm, and that was my service, and that's what I was doing to help people in the world. And my spiritual journey was kind of like underground. I was taking classes and trainings in energy therapy, kind of behind the scenes. I wasn't really telling anybody. And then what happened was, you know, as you grow and expand in the light, anything that's no longer a vibrational match shifts out. So, you know, we're in an incredible time of change and transition in this moment in time in May. I'm recording this on May 5th, 2020, right? The 5-5 energy. It's an explosion of change. And what can happen is most likely your 3D world, or the world that you see, is the same. But what happens is the transition and change is your approach and your ways of thinking and your aha moments and your knowledge and wisdom that, it kind of opens you up to see things in a way you didn't see before. So your home may look the same and the way you make money may look the same, but the way you approach it is completely different. So, this is a really great time for you to sit and reflect upon. Call on God, Source, Creator, and ask Him, show me, shine a light on what needs attention, shine a light on my areas of weakness. This is a bold move for Earth Angels when you can sit with Creator and say, show me, and then really trust your physical self to show up and make the changes. It is powerful. The 3D world, the world of illusions has done a really good job at distorting Earth Angels' perception of their self. When you're on this spiritual journey, you are a warrior, a trooper, you're the leader of the pack, but the world of illusions has done a really good job at dismantling our self-esteem, our worth, our value, our power through, whether it's our physical bodies or whether it's through abuse or manipulation or taking advantage. And so Earth Angels are awakening to these things and saying no more. So see this as like the end of a book that you've been reading over and over and over again. And this full moon will give you an opportunity to really focus your intention on how you want to feel. If you've been getting extra rest, really, and you've been feeling really good, saying, God, bring me more opportunity to sleep and get rest like this. If you've had quality time, if you've been able to practice spiritual disciplines, if you've been getting knowledge and wisdom and insights and things like that, really claim that, like put a stake in the ground and claim that, saying more of this or something even better. If financially things are more abundant, or there's more peace in your life, claim that, more of this or something even better, rather than focusing on the negative or what it is that you don't want. Let me check my notes here to see if there's anything I want to say before I dive in. Again, it's a good time to direct your energy towards your good qualities. Let's see. Nope, I think that's all I wanted to say about that. So I chose 3 energies: balance, faith, and peace. I really like you to just kind of look at these words and just see where you're pulled. Maybe there's a weakness in these areas. Maybe on the opposite, and you're feeling more balanced, more faithful, or more peaceful, and you want to know more about that area. I chose an eclectic group of cards for assistance. So I'm going to start with getting a message from the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and we'll start off seeing what the theme is under each stone. And then what her whispers of healing are, an additional message of healing for you for this full moon in Scorpio. And then I'm going to pull from the Power of Surrender cards to see what needs to be released. If you're not sure or you've been kind of skirting around it, this is a powerful deck to really get to the heart of the matter. So we're going to go into it with this. And then I have this lovely deck. I haven't used it in a recording yet, but I've been personally using it, and it's very sweet and it's very gentle. The Scorpio energy is a water sign. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are water signs, and they bring up emotions. So I'm going to use this card to get some clarity on your emotions and your emotional healing during this full moon in Scorpio. And then finally, what's being activated with the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. And so, these readings are general. So, not all the messages under each stone is going to resonate. You may want to watch all 3 and you might get nuggets of information. The divine speaks through me. And as you know, if you've been following me for a bit here. I teach a lot and I share information through these cards. So really, I just encourage you to take in what resonates and dump the rest. Sometimes they'll use them to these pick a card readings to strengthen your intuition, and you might be guided to a reading and then you're listening to it and you're like, this makes no sense, this is not for me. Sometimes it's a lesson to get you to understand and know the feeling of what it feels like to have something that's out of alignment and make a better decision. So don't really put that on yourself that, you know, you got it right or wrong or indifferent. You know, the divine is really good about using energy at all times as teachable moments. All right, so let me start here. If you no longer want to follow with me and watch the cards pop out, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description box below, as well as all the information on how to reach me. If you'd like a reading during this time, I'm still doing video chat and phone sessions. Video chats are available, all mediums. I have Skype Business, I have Zoom, I have Facebook Messenger, I have FaceTime. What else? Phone sessions. So let's see here. All right, so those that are going to stay with me, let me open up space, inviting in all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, God source, creator of the universe, and all his holy beings of light that would like to assist with this guidance for you today. I'm going to tap into the divine feminine energy, the shadow energy, the yin energy, which is the moon energy, for insight and guidance. And I'm going to ask that the messages that come through be for your best and highest good, and the best and highest good of all concerned. All right, Queen of the Moon Oracle. What message do you have for the balance pile? Let's go with this one. And Faith, Queen of the Moon. What message do you have for the Faith pile? So there's two here. And Peace. What message do you have for the Peace pile? There's two here too. All right, let's see. And Whispers of Healing, beautiful deck here. Additional message. Balance. Additional message of healing for the Faith pile. This full moon in Scorpio. And Peace. Additional message for the Peace pile. Full moon in Scorpio. There we go. And Surrender. What needs to be surrendered for the Balance pile? There's two here. And Faith. What needs to be surrendered? This full moon in Scorpio for the Faith pile and the Peace pile. What needs to be surrendered? This full moon in Scorpio. Let's see. We'll go with this one. And the emotions, emotional support for the Balance pile. This full moon in Scorpio, Waisak full moon. Balance. These cards are really sticky. So we have that. And Faith. Emotional support for the Faith pile. And emotional support for the Peace pile. Full moon in Scorpio. These cards are kind of thick. Heavy. Do like them though. One, please. I'm going to go with this one. And finally, what is being activated? What is being activated for the balance pile. And what is being activated in the faith pile. With this one. And finally, the peace pile. All right, friends. So give me a moment as I prepare these. Okay, let's see here. Let's tidy these up. Okay, so once again, balance, faith, peace. Just going to give you a moment. Take a deep breath, close your eyes. I love to put my hands over, one hand over my heart, one hand over my sacral chakra, the area just below my belly button. Take a few deep breaths. You may hear, see, feel, or know the word. You might feel your body being pulled left or right or towards the center. All right, I'm going to begin. And for those of you who chose the balance pile, welcome. Overall theme, Scorpio full moon, time to release negativity. So let's get some extra support for you. And Queen of the Moon Oracle, her message is faith. I love it. So for some of you, if you had a little trouble deciding whether to go with the balance or the faith pile, and you were like, well, I'll just stick with the balance pile because that's first, and then I can just watch the next one. Here's your sign. So beautiful energy right here. So I feel like with balance, by creating balance of sitting in prayer and meditation, stillness and presence, I feel like this woman is pregnant and creating new ideas and new energies and new life. She's bathing these beautiful ideas under the moonlight, under the shadow energy. You know, the shadow and feminine energy has the gift of being able to see the unseen. So for those of you who chose the balance pile, maybe you have projects or things that haven't worked out. Maybe you had plans during this time and things are being canceled and things are being shut down and rescheduled, and maybe it's just not the right time for these things to be implemented or put out into the world. And so I feel like the Queen of the Moon Oracle energy is saying remain still and nurture and soothe and comfort yourself during this time. These ideas and these projects and these energies that have been growing within you may not be completely ready yet. And so if you're really trying to work and get things done and get things out, I feel like there needs to be a time of pause. This is such a feminine energy here. So being open and receptive of bathing in the moon. Maybe you have a window in your home that you can sit and be still. I say this often, you know, from personal experience, that earth angels are wiggly. We have a hard time sitting still and being. And what happens is there's such an incredible power in stillness. There's such an incredible power in your intuition and your guidance and the downloads you can receive in stillness that sometimes, you know, we've been programmed to to escape those things for fear of what could come, meaning it's all good, but it would mean things would have to change. So this card number is 31. 3 plus 1 equals 4. 4 is a number of stability, foundations, security. I always see with 4 like the bee energy, like worker bee energy. I see foundations and roots and structure and order. Mother Earth herself this year is in a 4 of her 9-year cycle. 2020, 2 plus 2 equals 4. So what we're seeing in this world is the restructuring, right? We were in the nodes. We were in the nodes, the North Node and the South Node of Cancer and Capricorn. And so on this day that I record this, the 5th of May, I may actually release it tonight too. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to wait to be guided on that. But what the nodes are now shifting into Gemini and Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius is the world. Gemini is, sometimes can be two-faced. It's the duality, seeing different sides. So we're starting to see this energy in the world where the structures of the Capricorn energy and the emotions, the maternal energy that kicked up these last, I believe it was November 2018 to, May 5th, 2020, that these nodes have been in alignment and now they're shifting again. So we're starting to see this dynamic. Please, I don't claim to know all about astrology. I follow it a lot because that's personally what I'm guided to. But please check this stuff out if you're curious about it and how it's affecting you. And so know that there's a lot of shifting that's happening right now. So those of you who are guided to the balance pile, have faith that things are going to work out in divine and perfect order. And so remember, under the astrology and the energy of the world, things have to come in alignment. I think I shared with you about a month ago my mugs that I created, and a couple of people have emailed and saying, where are those mugs? When are you going to put them out there? And as much as I wanted to do them, what happened was the state of the world got worse, and I didn't want to put the demand on the printing company that was practicing social distancing and adding to that. I didn't want to put a demand on our postal and delivery resources because people are needing medical supplies and they're needing medicine and things like that. So I had to pull back, and it's kind of one of those things that, I had to pull out and saying, okay, I have to have faith that when it's time, I will be able to put it out into the world, which will probably be June. So keep an eye out for that. So understand that things that we've started, it's almost like the universe is holding back a little bit and saying, wait, there's a better time for it. So in the time, if you're not able to work and pursue things and they're not working out, the balance is stillness, presence, bathe in the moon, the healing energy, go within your intuition, your receptivity. Use this time to really amplify your good qualities, the good energy, the things that you're loving, the things that you're enjoying. Use this full moon to shower that spiritual energy down on those projects, on those people, those experiences. The quote that I love to use is, God, more of this in my life, or something even better. And over time, you end up recreating your world. So the healing message, alternative, interesting. So, wow, friends, look at this. So we have number 4 here. So we have 2 4s right here. So maybe you thought you knew how things were going to go and how things should work out. And this card is saying there are alternatives. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Okay, so one of the messages I'm getting is you may have thought you knew. Like, I know this is the way it needs to be. Well, now the nodes are shifting, the planet's shifting, the foundational structure of Mother Earth, the heaven and earth, and our systems are shifting. So they're saying, be open to an alternative. What is not working for you? For example, are you trying to create a routine or a ritual and it's not working out? Well, how can you create flow and flexibility to find other ways? So, sometimes we look at the way people do things and it works for them, and then we try it and it doesn't work well for us. And so I feel like here, to create balance, your guides are saying, is there an alternative to what you're doing? So if you don't have a place in your home to create stillness and presence, and maybe it's noisy and disruptive, or there's a lot of energy, how can you go to a place? How can you go to an alternative place? You may not know that right away. You can sit in meditation and ask God, okay, what's the alternative? What could I be doing? Instead of trying to say single focused, like it has to be this way, which creates an out of alignment and out of balance when we try to force something to be a certain way, because we're in that ego part of the I know. Like, I know it has to be this way. We've all been there. We all dip in and out of it. So it's not a message to shame you. It's really to shine a light on what you could be missing. So what should you be surrendering this full moon? Unhealthy relationships and procrastination. Oh, so let's see here. Where to begin? Okay, so surrender unhealthy relationships. I also feel too, before I read this is with yourself as well. And maybe some of you have an unhealthy, out of balance relationship with yourself. That's the criticism, being hard on yourself, trying to force things to happen. This could also be an unhealthy relationship with God, source, creator. Maybe you're unhappy with the way things have unfolded. Maybe you're angry at God. Maybe you're frustrated. This is a really great time for you to surrender that and saying, okay, what is the relationship? How does the relationship going to work for me in a way that's right and comfortable for me? So it says, let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. So here's the thing. Some of you may be raising your eyebrows here because you have unavailable or toxic people in your life and you're like, I know it. Well, understand that program of that energy is a part of you. So in order to shift it, this is not calling everybody and saying your energy no longer serves me anymore. You can't be in my life. This is an energy for you to look at yourself and saying, okay, how is my relationship maybe with God, source, creator, toxic or unhealthy? How am I projecting that energy? God, you're never there for me. Where are you? You could also be doing that to yourself. Maybe you're putting pressure on yourself. Maybe you're like trying to force something to get something done. So this goes not necessarily with your external world. I mean, obviously it's probably in your 3D world. But if you don't clear the program within, you're going to keep recreating this and you're going to say, they're the problem, and, it's a dynamic that earth angels tend to attract because we weren't taught how to meet our emotional needs. We weren't taught how to practice this depth of self-care, of nurturing, loving, appreciating, being gentle, being soothing, nourishing to our souls, to our physical bodies, right? We work out intensely. We work so many hours. We put our own needs aside for everybody else. And, you understand that's part of the pathway to a spiritual awakening. That's part of the growth process. But this could be out of balance, like how much you're doing and how much you're not aware of your own faults, right? We all have them. And then also too, it's like, okay, maybe some of you are in these dynamics and you know that you've needed to make some changes. Now is the time to put your best foot forward and start making changes. Minor adjustments make huge changes in the long run. So it says, now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Take action. Taking action will attract success. Minor adjustments make huge changes in the long run. I've done multiple trainings with Tony Robbins at his Unleash the Power Within event, and he tells the story how golfers, in order to increase the yardage on their stroke, I guess, I don't play golf, so excuse me if the terminology isn't correct, but in order for the ball to go farther, they have to make minor adjustments, which is like 2 centimeters. It's a little adjustment of the hip. It's a minor adjustment of the knee. It's a minor adjustment of the hand. So some of you are putting off and procrastinating because you're trying to move leaps and bounds. And so if you're trying to create balance with stillness and increasing your energy of faith and restructuring your roots and your foundation in the divine, 5 minutes every day. That's all you need, friends. 5 minutes of stillness. Mike Dooley talks about this from tut.com. 5 to 8 minutes every day. 5 minutes every day is way better than trying to create an hour, a half hour, even 20 minutes of time, because after 5 to 8 minutes, your brain goes right off into, the ego mind, the mental mind, and you're thinking of all the things that you should be doing, and so it becomes frustrating. So if you can, I love the app Insight Timer. My podcast is on Insight Timer. I believe there's a link in the description below. You can download that app, and they have a timer, and you can set a timer for 5 minutes. On my timer at 2.5 minutes, I have a bell that goes off, so I know that 2.5 minutes has gone by. And then at 4 minutes, there's another bell that goes off, so that I know that I have 1 minute left. If my mind is boodala and all over the place, I'm like, okay. And so I kind of set myself up for success. And sometimes I focus on an affirmation. Sometimes I just focus that 5 minutes on my breath. Sometimes I just listen to my environment, no matter what's going on in my environment. Sometimes I just sit with the pain in my body. If I'm got inflammation in my body that's activated, I just sit and listen to it and I breathe through it. So you can really set an intention of that 5 minutes, but just being able to sit, maybe turn off the music and really just allow the experience to be what it is. So, some of you maybe are trying to do too much at once. And again, it's creating an unhealthy relationship with yourself, which in turn brings it in the external world. So there's lots of fragments to this. Do you have an unhealthy relationship with God? Do you have unrealistic expectations of what that vibration is? A lot of times when I started my spiritual journey, God, when I was like 19, or when I started to awaken on the spiritual journey, I said to Jesus, tell me the story. What do I need to know? And I really just gave them permission to really show me. And I've mentioned this before, that I just got some books that came along my way that just really helped our relationship just become stronger. And Jesus is my master teacher. He's my brother. He's my leader of light. And he's my friend first and foremost. So it's powerful to have this energy, but I had to do a lot of healing and deprogramming from my upbringing and the conditioning of the world that I was raised in. So again, it wasn't good or bad, right or wrong. I chose those experiences so I could evolve out of them, to know that pain, to be able to help others. So let me see here. Emotions, emotional support for this full moon in Scorpio. Help appears in various ways. I love it. It says there is much support for you. Sometimes you may get so adrift, you forget to look to the support systems that are with you continuously. Again, this is getting back to stillness, your relationship with Creator and the divine. Again, here we have like fish energy. So this is maybe specific to some of you Pisces that are out there, water signs. Some of you, maybe you need to eat some fish if that's part of your diet, for some protein and nourishment, for support to help your physical body. You'll know, like if I say this and you're like, oh yeah, I could go for this or go for that, well, we'll do that. So we have the number 8 here. 8 is about abundance. It's about an infinity, a constant flow of energy. But 8, the shadow part of 8 is repeated patterns and cycles. So here we have this over and over again, taking a hard look at the cycles and the rhythms that keep repeating over and over again. And maybe they are unhealthy relationships. Maybe it's with procrastination. Could be both. And these are coming up, again, not to shame you, but really for you to take a good hard look at it and saying, and just the acceptance of it. Like, yeah, I totally do that. God, show me, bring the people in my life to show me how to break through this, how to heal this, how to send energy. And you can use this powerful time, instead of beating yourself up about it, use this time of spiritual energy of the full moon to really project it to your own physical body. Again, bathing in it, going outside. You can put your crystals out in the windows and then sit with those crystals. A salt bath. I usually use magnesium. I take like a magnesium foot bath. I mean, I like to use that for cleansing. I usually do it at night because I get really tired after it. So it's a really great time to throw on a warm blanket. So how can you stop muscling your way through things and trying to force things to happen? And how can you create a gentleness and an ease and new cycles and energy? And then what's being activated for you during this time period? Soul time. Gosh, there's another 4. Amazing. So some of you, if you're seeing 4s show up in your life, here's your sign. 444. So there's 3 4s here. 444. That's the angel number in the divine world. It means hundreds of thousands of angels are with you. Ask them anything. Again, I talked about 4 being structure and order, and how can you create balance with spiritual disciplines? Or, I know the word discipline, for some of you, you're going to rebel against it, right? That's your inner masculine. So creating spiritual rituals, spiritual traditions, this is your thing for you outside of anything else. For me personally, my thing is I have a deck of cards that I use that are for me. I don't share them with the world. I don't use them in my healing sessions. It's a special relationship that I have. It embodies Native American energy and the mother energy and the earth energy, and it's my sacred time. And in the book, it has all different spreads, and so I'm called to it literally, and I feel very nourished and cherished, and I feel like the cards that come out really speak to me. So maybe creating some time with some cards that are just yours, that you're not sharing, and you can create this sacred time so that you feel fulfilled and uplifted. So creating soul time for yourself is part of the balance. If not, if you're energetically depleted, you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel frustrated, you're going to feel confused, you're going to feel annoyed. That's a timeout, because you probably need to eat. You probably need to get some fresh air, some water, and take a break and get to bed early. So if you can start paying attention to your physical body and getting this soul time, you'll know exactly what you need when you need it. It's very feminine to get lost in time, to get lost in the moment, right? So your inner masculine is trying to tell you, eat, go to bed early, take care of yourself, say no, right? But if we keep criticizing ourselves and putting off what we know what we need to do, it creates disharmony, right? So the message here, it says the frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. So how are you creating limitations based on this 3D world, and how can you expand into, understand that we are in a place in this moment in time in May 2020 where we have an opportunity to consciously handpick the people, places, things, and ideas in our lifetime, in this lifetime, but you're also choosing for lifetimes forward. We as earth angels have come into this planet to have all facets of the human experience through God, to know God, and to be able to co-create with this divine energy in a conscious way. And this is where the energy has been awakening for years and years and years. And it's a very powerful time, but we really got to face the stuff. We got to look at the messy stuff, the ugly stuff, and really pull out what's everybody else's, and really saying, okay, this is who I am, and it is powerful. All right, I just saw I just saw like a crystal that was being like polished up, like a stone, like almost like a rose quartz that was just being polished up. So know that knowing these things and these messages are really kind of just cleaning you up. And this is the healing. Just knowing it is the healing, making the connection. And then going forward, the divine will certainly create experiences for you to continue to heal. All right, friends. So those of you who chose the balance pile 1, thank you so much for watching. If these messages resonated with you, give me a like. It really helps me to know where to focus energy and what you like. If it really struck you and you want to share a story in the comments below, do that. If there is a friend, a loved one, a family member that could resonate, please share this with them. And I thank you so much for watching. All right, so those of you who chose the faith pile, welcome. And we have 2 Queen of the Moon messages here to start. And first one is boundaries. Oh man, these are good. And let's see. Protection, of course. Okay. Okay, so what I'm seeing is, so there's this card here. I just want to get the words right. Some of you are setting boundaries to protect yourself, and you're doing a really good job at it, but you may not be seeing or getting the results that you want, or you're not feeling like it's working. And remember, people in our lives are used to us being a certain way. And when we start to evolve and grow and change, it freaks people out. They want us to stay the way we are. And I think that's just the human experience. We kind of run away from any change, right? This is why people stay in jobs and relationships that have run its course for way too long, because they've learned everything they needed to learn in those experiences. But sometimes it's the uncertainty is scary. And so those of you who are making changes, who are setting boundaries for yourself to protect your energy, but yet the people around you, a husband, a wife, a partner, a child, they're continuing to resist it, or they're not understanding, it can activate this part of you that says, well, what do I do? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. And so our faith in ourselves can really waver. And am I doing the right thing? I'm not sure. So the universe is saying, if you're creating boundaries, using your voice, communication to protect yourself, and it's within your integrity, know that it's going to take time to adjust and heal. So this time of this Wesak full moon and the full moon in Scorpio, again being, if you skipped ahead and didn't hear the intro, this is the most powerful full moon of the year. It is the, the celebration of, or commemorates the Buddha's birth, death, and enlightenment. And this moon is all souls on the spiritual path participate in this divine experience to help heal the planet. And when you can consciously do this, it's powerful. So when you're sitting in meditation for this full moon, really empower your voice, your throat chakra, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, your creativity, your root chakra to really ground in, firm boundaries, like this is unacceptable. Sometimes you need to have boundaries with yourself, right? If, you're spinning out of control and maybe, between the eating and TV and like boredom and things like that, and there's a part of you that's saying, I got to get back on track. You could be losing faith in the system, you could be losing faith in yourself and the divine at this point. So I feel like putting energy towards how you want to feel, your goals, your creative projects, and allowing, so one of the messages too I'm getting is allowing the divine in to assist you. Some of you may be falling into the ego that I know and I have to, and it's all on my shoulders. And so the divine is saying, hey, we're patiently waiting here for you. You've got to invite us in. And that's what those 5 minutes of meditation every day does, prayer and meditation. So prayer is the asking, like, Creator, show me your definition of boundaries. Show me how to protect myself in healthy ways. And then taking pause for a couple minutes to just listen. Maybe you'll get a song that pops in your head. Maybe you'll get a color. Maybe you'll get an object that will come up in your mind. You might get nothing. And then later the day, you might see a meme or a quote or something that's the answer to what you were asking. You've got to be present, being aware. The creator and the divine is in the present moment. This is where the numbers come from, right? So I feel like some of you might be faltering. Maybe you're having those negative thoughts and you're frustrated and you're losing your faith because the actions you're taking, it doesn't seem to be working, or it doesn't seem to be changing. So they're saying, have faith and trust that we're working with you. And you don't go to the gym once and are able to lift 50 pounds. It takes work, right? Because our 3D world, our conscious seeing is believing world is so instant gratification, making things happen right away, we forget that the learning process is challenging. To grow or to become strong takes time, and you have to keep showing up for it. And that's a weakness in the earth angel vibration. We get really creative ideas, but to actually follow through and stick with things and create a routine and structure, that's a weak point for a lot of us. So have faith that minor adjustments that you're making are going to make changes, but it's got to be consistent and it's got to be persistent. So start small. In the balance pile, it talked about how minor adjustments make huge changes in the long run. Mike Dooley talks about 5 minutes every day, sit in stillness, 5 minutes every day, create a routine so that's pull. It's unrealistic to say you can create the same 5 minutes every day at the same time. I mean, life happens. So you've got to create some level of flexibility to it. Maybe it's getting stronger and you've got to start with 2-pound weights and then 3-pound weights. Maybe you've just got to, maybe it's diet and you've just got to eliminate one thing. Maybe it's soda. Maybe it is snacking after a certain time. Minor adjustments are going to make huge changes in the long run. But remember, progress and change happens over time. So what things can you blast with this beautiful full moon energy to intensify? It's kind of like this full moon energy that's coming in. It's like kind of like the miracle grow on the seeds. So you might not be able to see things actually happen, or, you might do this and not see the manifest of it right away, but know that it's happening. It's happening in the shadow. So the healing message for you, see hidden blessings. So again, I think those of you who chose this faith pile here, maybe you want things instantly and maybe things aren't happening fast enough for you. And so they're reminding you to stick with faith here and call in the divine. Maybe you sit with God. Maybe you pull out your rosary beads. Maybe you pull out your mala beads. Maybe you pull out your stones and you say some mantras that are going to keep you in a high vibe for the duration of this quarantine that we're in, or the duration of this full moon energy. Maybe you make a commitment for the next 30 days to do these things, again, 5 to 8 minutes every single day. And the Dalai Lama says, I believe it's Dalai Lama or the Buddha or Gandhi, I'm not sure, says that you don't know the benefits of gratitude You'll never know the benefits of gratitude until you're doing gratitude every day, unless you're creating how do I want to say that? Oh, the words are all jumbled. Unless you're practicing gratitude on a daily basis, you're never going to know or understand the benefits. And this is why you have to kind of maintain. So pick something. If you want to do 10 gratefuls every day, I like to do gratefuls and joyful. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do 10 things that either make me joyful or that I'm grateful for. And I can kind of sit in that energy. So choose that. If it's a prayer that you like to use, choose that, and it can change on a regular basis in those 5 minutes to 8 minutes that you're creating for yourself. Set a timer, and when you're done, you're done. Leave it alone, right? There'll be hidden blessings behind the scenes to support you. So what do you need to surrender this full moon? Obsessive thinking. When, how, it's not working, what's gonna happen, right? I mean, this is something we all go through. So, have patience with yourself and know that this is a natural part of being human. But when you can look at it and face it and know how it feels in your body, you can shift it and be present with it. So it says, if you're obsessing about a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Again, remember we're talking about call in the divine, ask them for their assistance. The universe abides by the law of free will, and they will not intervene unless we're asking, unless it's a life or death experience and it's not your time. It says doing so will help bring clarity or even solve the problem. This for me, I'm getting like Jesus's energy and talking about how when we have a problem or a situation or there's something that, we're really challenged with and we don't like, give it space, leave it alone for a little bit. I remember before my transition out of my corporate job into my business. I remember May of 2007, I went on this trip. It was a spiritual trip and it just kind of awakened me. And I remember being on the bus. I went to Sedona. I remember being on the bus, coming back from Sedona, driving into Phoenix, and all of a sudden I burst into tears, and it was almost like my wings were being clipped, and I could feel the walls caving in again. It was like almost like I was going back to this claustrophobic life, and I didn't want to anymore. So I came back, and sure enough, I'm in the cubicle and the pressure is on, and I was in real estate at the time, and it was just insanity. It was so out of alignment with who I was and what I should have been doing. And so from May of 2007 to September of 2007, I prayed hardcore. I talked to every deity. I connected with every god, every goddess. I asked all my spiritual people, and finally I had to just kind of leave it alone and saying, okay, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. If it's God's will, I'll be pushed out. And I remember August of 2007, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I am so done. I was crying every morning and every night, and it was painful for me. And again, I didn't really have a lot of direction at that time. I was really just kind of figuring this stuff out. And then a couple weeks later, September, I think it was the second week of September, the company I was working for let me go by the grace of God. And it was from those 2 weeks of not focusing on it, surrendering it, leaving it, knowing I was uncomfortable, seeing the hidden blessings and what am I learning from it, the obsessive thinking, like I can't just quit. I need to get out of here. I'm done. My soul is dying. That cancer, that heavy cancer, water energy with me certainly made me emotionally dramatic. But the pain was real. And so I can relate to that as you're feeling this energy, as you're starting to protect yourself and put up boundaries. And I have to say, I didn't know what I was going to do. I gave it time. And 2 weeks later, a friend called me up and she said, hey, my acupuncturist is looking. She wants to expand her wellness center. If you want to offer Reiki and do readings, she's open to it. And friends, I'll tell you, 2 weeks after I got let go, boom, that opportunity fell in my lap. I jumped on it, and here I am 13 years later. So if you're trying to force something, trying to make things happen, if you're in that negative place, like it's never going to change, and you're losing your faith, this is saying surrender it. This full moon, release it, create space, and allow the doors of opportunity to open up for you. Emotional support. What message of emotional support? Setting up parameters. Oh my gosh, it says, assess your relationships and determine how they are aligned with your goals. Setting boundaries requires an honest evaluation of your present relationships. Friends, it's no coincidence that boundaries came up twice here. So maybe some of you aren't setting boundaries for yourself, and you're still going above and beyond and angry and frustrated and bitter and depleted, and which are all natural part of the growth process, which is naturally part of the pain and discomfort you need to feel in order to make changes. So assess your relationships with yourself and God first and foremost, right? Where is your faith in this? How maybe you can call on the Archangel Michael and ask him to protect you and keep you safe. How are people's negativity, their own, so I'm going to say this word, I don't know if it's a word, cynicalism, being cynical. That's the word that's coming up. How are people's downer, the Debbie Downers, and, the world's going, to hell in a handbasket. Like, how are you aligned with those people, and how is their fears? How are you sucking in their fears and really obsessing about this? Like, what are we going to do about this? How is this going to work out? God is saying there's hidden blessings with everything that's happening with you right now. So you've got to create some type of boundaries with your energy, self-preservation and protection of yourself for this full moon. So maybe this full moon in Scorpio, you call on Archangel Michael, you invite him in your life. Maybe you do a ceremony with them, ask him to help you with your throat chakra to be able to communicate. And honestly, friends, if you've got to do it for yourself, and know that people aren't going to like it. We've got lots of different numbers here. So we've got 8 here, 7, 6, 3. There's no pattern in the numbers. Let me say 3, 6, 8, 3, 6, 7, 8. Let's see here. So the 7 is about like the unseen, spirituality. It's your spiritual journey. 8 is like cycles and rhythms and patterns. It's also an abundance number and prosperity. For me, it's God's number, that God's showing up in the life to show us what we need to move away from. 6 is about family and home. So maybe you're at your wit's end and you've been home with these people in your life, and it's just getting more intense and you're feeling like you want to run away. How can you boldly show up towards these things? And of course, 3, I always think of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. The faith of working with this energy, co-creating together. Remember, your pain is what will become your power, and it will transform you. I like to think of Maya Angelou and Oprah and how they shared their pain for so many years, and through that pain they transformed it, and it became their empowerment and their light in the world. So final card, activation. Yes, transition. There's the 7 again, right? You are on the spiritual journey. You are going into the unseen, right? These transitions are happening behind the scenes. There's a hidden blessing. They're happening in the spiritual realm. So you might have that dread, like, oh, it's not working. I don't know what to do. Release those thoughts and those fears to God. So the frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. So this is also too, it almost feels like with your money too, right? So Money needs to come and go. We need to create flow. Energy needs to come and go. People need to come and go. It's a natural part of transition and change, and that's how we evolve. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to? What are you trying to make happen that's not working out? And how can you just meditate on the word faith and really just ask God to assist you with that energy? I'm not saying you don't have faith. I'm saying that faith is what could heal these, like I said, these situations that you might be in, that you might be feeling, that the faith that may be wavering in your life right now. I'm being guided to share maybe sitting with some rose quartz, which is a love stone. So I'm seeing the words nourish, cherish, comfort, soothe, support. I'm seeing maternal energy for you. So how have you pushed that energy out, and how can you embrace it? Maybe going to sit under a tree. My new apartment that I moved into, the trees in my backyard are so beautiful. I don't even know what they're called, but the flowers that are blossoming on this one tree, I literally sat for 5 minutes and just staring at the beauty. And and I have to say, when I came in and I felt so relaxed and so nourished, it was almost like a Mother Nature just blessed me with her just gorgeous beauty, and it just soothed my soul. And I have to tell you, friends, I was like hardcore for a long time, forcing things, making things happen. I mean, those of you who know astrology, or not astrology, like the zodiac signs, triple Cancer is insane with emotions. And so I've been through the ringer in a lot of ways. So being open to this energy, I can tell you it works. I'm not saying I'm completely healed. I mean, obviously we're all changing and growing in this human experience, but I've seen the growth in myself the last couple of years. And it was really just embracing that divine feminine energy within me. So all those of you who are watching, connect with the Holy Spirit energy. If you start seeing the threes energy, notice that that father son, or that masculine feminine balance, the yin yang energy wants to work with you. Maybe going and checking out the balance pile that was before this could be an extension of the reading for you. But know you're in this time of transition. So what can you release? What can you surrender? And how can you start not some of you are already setting boundaries, but how can you be open to the patience that it takes for things to change and transition? All right, powerful messages. Good stuff. So those of you who chose pile 2, thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you and you felt it, hit that like button. If you have a story on how this connects and resonates and you feel like you want to share it in the comments, please do. If you have a friend or a loved one that could benefit from these readings, please share it with them. It's always appreciated. And I can't thank you enough for watching. All right, so those of you who chose the peace pile, welcome. Okay, let's see here. So, okay, I was just checking the time, seeing where we're at. Queen of the Moon, we have 2 here. So the first one, beautiful. Oh, I just felt like a warm hug. Self-love under peace. So, and the 6 here, the 6 is about home, family, security. This is a very, very feminine energy here. I want to speak to those needs that I talk about in my videos. So those of you, how can you support yourself through this full moon energy? How can you take advantage of the spiritual energy that's coming down, giving yourself attention, affection, creative expression, giving yourself divine love, connecting, spiritual connection with Creator, Divine, Mother Nature. That can be a beautiful way for you to soothe your soul and create a deeper level of peace. For some of you who chose peace because there's an imbalance or you're not feeling peace, Again, I'm going to say it again, stillness, quiet time. It's really going to help you with this. Some of you, I know it feels like, well, I've got to do this. When this gets done, then I can have peace, or I've got to get to this, or I've got to get to that. How can you just allow the experience to be what it is in the moment? How can you find peace in chaos? So again, if you're in a place and, work is intense and, your house is a mess and things aren't orderly and you're feeling chaotic within, how can you invite in the divine, and how can you invite in that powerful Huisak moon energy to help you find peace in the chaos? I'm seeing the Psalm 91, right? God will protect you. There'll be thousands that will fall at your side, but you'll still be protected. So for some of you, go and maybe sit and meditate or say that prayer, Psalm 91, so that you're reminded that you're divinely protected if you're not feeling peace. If you were guided to peace, because you're just feeling this pleasant energy of peace and you're finally in this place, know that it's because of the soothing self-love that you're giving yourself, the boundaries that you're setting for yourself, the support that you're giving for yourself in a nurturing, comforting way. The void, yes. So the void is the shadow, right? The void is the new moon. It is the unseen. So for those of you who are struggling with peace, and those of you who are experiencing peace, both of you, sitting with the energy of the moon, maybe without an agenda, without an intention, and just being able to look at this beautiful soul is just laying in the moon and letting that energy bathe her. So maybe for some of you, this full moon is you take the self-love and you go sit in the void, right? Maybe to create peace, it's not setting an intention, and it's not releasing something, and it's not actually doing, as I was saying earlier, like sending energy to projects. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you can really use that energy to flow through you to send to projects, the earth, your own self, your own physical body. But maybe you can take some time to just sleep and rest without doing anything. The void, the dark moon, has so much information. Maybe you can ask the moon to show you your own void, your own shadow stuff, maybe your own programs, your own belief systems that might be leading you in like, I want to say the wrong direction, but in the direction that that it's not helpful for you. How can you use this energy? An act of love is stillness. So how can you use this energy? Some of you, I'm just feeling guided to share, like, sit down and journal in the moon. I believe it's like 10:45 here. You'd have to check I know there's people watching from all over in different time zones. So, you got to check what time zone you're in and when the moon is actually full. But maybe sitting down and writing and connecting with the void, with the shadow, with the yin energy. Some of you taking a picture of the yin yang energy and actually sitting in the void part, you can get knowledge and wisdom and insight. This is your feminine energy. Feminine energy has the gift of being able to see the unseen, right? This is how feminine energy, men have often called women's intuition satellite. And of course, I'm not connecting, masculine and feminine with a gender, but I've often heard it from men teasing and really enamored by women's satellites. And that's that instinct, that mother's knowing that something's happening or something isn't right. And that vibration is awakening on this planet. The I am that I am. I know because I am. And we're getting more into our physical body and our feeling body. Your intuition for feminine energies, your intuition is in your heart and your physical body. For masculines, it's in your gut and your thinking mind. bring those together and there's an explosion of power. Remember, we're in a 9-year cycle of reintegrating the energy of true love back on the planet. So there's this individualization process that we've been going through. And feminine energies really need to learn how to soothe and comfort and be receptive to nourishing and cherishing our physical bodies and being receptive to and being able to transform pain. I feel like some of you, the healers that chose this pile, and you already are feeling more peace. I'm feeling Mother Earth's call for you to send her love. She needs you to use this energy to heal the people, the unawakened. And again, it's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's a process, if you can think about it that way. And some are in the beginning of their process, some are in the middle, some are towards the end. It just is. So it's no judgment. So those of you who are in this peace energy, Mother Earth is saying she's practicing self-love right now. She's taken this big time out. And the way that you can help her is sending her love. Just me going out and touching the flowers in my backyard and just breathing them in was an act of love for Mother Nature. And I received it and I felt soothed from within. And it's a state of being as opposed to doing. Let's see here. So the healing message, choice. Yep. These cards are so beautiful. So let's see. I was just looking at the numbers here. So we have 12. 12 is a master number. 10, 11, 12. And master vibration equals 3. 3 energy. For me, I take it as like the Holy Spirit, the masculine and feminine, the balance of the masculine and feminine, the yin and yang, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the ascended master energy. So I feel like the message here is like you have a choice. And here she is, blowing bubbles. It's a very sacred feminine energy of being. It's a presence. So you have a choice with regards to peace. Wow. Yeah, you have a choice. Choose peace. And sometimes, it's hard to have an experience of something if we've never experienced it. So in the last couple of readings, the first 2 readings, I talked about creating spiritual discipline, or I like to, remove the word discipline so you don't rebel against it. It's creating spiritual traditions and rituals, which will pull it. It's almost like a need, just like your car needs gas to go, and it's just a natural way that when you're running low, you go to the gas station, and so listening to those lights or those radars that come up require a level of self-love, allow you to kind of be in the space of what is needed that you're not able to see, right? What warning bells are coming on, and really it's not a danger thing or to scare you. It's a warning to saying, hey, just want to give you a heads up. Your tank is empty, or you're spending too much time with this person that's pulling at you, or your thoughts are, you're getting consumed by social media or news and you're getting pulled in. But remember, you have a choice. You can be informed, right? And not inundated with information. You can be informed when you're starting to be aware of when you're getting filled up. An act of love to create this peace is shutting it off, or maybe countering it with some fresh food or some fresh air, or like some love time. I'm seeing like love making. If you're lucky enough to be in a partnership, creating love together is another powerful way to create peace. It's a release. Again, I don't know why that's coming up, but it's specific for some of you. So how are you rejecting love, or how are you not allowing that in because you're tired, you're drained, you're frustrated? How can you create deeper levels of love. Sometimes it's intimacy, right? You have a choice here in how you receive that. So what needs to be surrendered? Surrender to divine timing. So sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. So those of you who are feeling disharmony with peace, it could be because you are trying to force something to happen. As I'm recording this, we're in the second month of the pandemic, and businesses are closed. People are home, they're not working. And so there's a lot of things that are being canceled. There's a lot of things that are being rescheduled. There's a lot of grieving that's happening right now. And so if you're in a space of discomfort and your peace is getting, I feel like I'm just seeing swayed like the winds. Come back to your core and remember that God has a plan. And you may get answers to what that plan is in the void, in the abyss, in meditation time, in time out. But remember, it's always a choice, free will. You can take this energy of the full moon and really capitalize on it and really bathe in it and soothe in it. I'm telling you, friends, I'm also hearing the sirens outside my car. I ignored it. It happened a little bit and I ignored it. And then it came back even louder. So I have to also acknowledge the Archangel Michael, and help is on the way. You're not alone. They're saying you have a choice. Let us in. Trust that God knows he can see. It's kind of like a truck driver. Truck drivers are way high up, so they can see way far ahead. So if you're behind that truck driver and he's slowing down or he's doing something and you're like, what are they doing? And you're getting aggravated with that person. They may be protecting you from something. Maybe they see something, right? So that's how you can relate to it in the physical 3D world. Think of God in that way. He's going to get in your way and he's going to slow you down. And if you're not listening and you're like, I got to get somewhere, and it's creating this disharmony and this discomfort within, it's saying, wait a minute, we're protecting you. I mean, how many times the car cut you off and it's like a sign or a message or a number or something you need to hear? It's like, hey, we got your back. You're not alone. So release that frustration this full moon. Release that annoyance. Release that impatience to the ethers during this full moon. Use that energy to capitalize. I just keep saying like water on a hot stove. Like you can use this energy to dissipate these frustrations and these negativities and these annoyances and these impatience. And this is part of the spiritual journey, right? Patience is a virtue for a reason. Patience is something that's very feminine and that a lot of people are learning how to embrace right now. So how do you surrender? Go within the void. Practice a level of self-love, but that's what's going to work for you. Everybody's different. And remember, it's a choice. So emotional support this full moon. Adrift in shallow water. Let's see here. It says, take a few deep breaths and reconnect to your inner peace. Friends, I'm telling you, these are powerful. It says, notice the small things and appreciate them. So maybe you are in a place like, all right, Gladys, I know all this, but how? I know all this. I do all this. And you're still annoyed and you're frustrated. This card is saying, take a few deep breaths. Reconnect to your inner peace, whatever that is. Maybe it's a moment in time. Maybe you remember a vacation on a beach somewhere, or on a trail somewhere, or on some spiritual resort somewhere. And you remember that inner peace, like, wow, I certainly own the peaceful moments often. I usually, if I'm sitting doing something, I'll just kind of remind myself, like, this in this moment right now is the peaceful times. This in this moment right now is the simple times. And I just really practice savoring those moments. I was sitting eating earlier and I was just kind of sitting by myself and I was just listening to something and I was like, you know what? Life is good right now in this moment. And I really truly embrace it. So you don't have to, You don't have to, claim all this energy all at once just because it's the full moon. You can start a spiritual ritual of being present and really claiming this peace when you feel it in the moment. But if your mind is so far in have tos and shoulds and hows and whens and what ifs and, I'm not happy about this and this one's doing that, if you're getting caught up in that energy and it's disrupting your peace, you got to take a time out, friends. Nobody's going to do that for you other than yourself. So notice the small things and appreciate them. Again, maybe your flowers are budding outside, or maybe you see some animals playing. Maybe you can take a moment and sit with Mother Nature. This is it's almost like come back to the shallow water where you can stand up. Maybe some of you have swam out way too far and you're feeling like you're tired from treading water. How can you come back and get back to basics? This being first and foremost. Okay, and final message. Oh, yes. 44, universal love. So it says so this card, the intention was what's being activated for you for this full moon in Scorpio. It says the frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and to the world of existence itself. 44 is the angel number. It's also a number of structure and foundation, stability, support. So this is, it's like what you're getting back to, universal love. And it's hard to, so let me see how I want to explain this. The ladder, stress, worries, fears, negativity, it's part of a process so that when we get here, we can truly savor it and appreciate it. It's sacred space, this universal love. It happens, when we least expect it. And so this is what you're getting back to. So how can you sit with this energy of universal love? How can you send love to the planet? Remember, human beings are love. Human beings are affectionate. The human experience. It's, I've traveled a lot in my short years here. I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot of different people, and it never ceases to amaze me how beautifully human people are in the most endearing way. And even seeing in the world how people are helping each other, how people are, it's really on this gifting system where people are, if they can sew, they're making masks. If they can play music, or they can do yoga, or they have information to share. We're getting back to this gifting system, meaning I have this gift. And this is my way to share universal love, and I'm going to gift it to the world. And in turn, we get back those things. Maybe it's a yoga, maybe it's a meditation, maybe it's knowledge and wisdom that we haven't seen or heard before. So it comes from this being present, right? Being in stillness, surrendering to divine timing, releasing those have tos and shoulds and those things that aren't working out, those things that we're trying to make happening, and get back to this and saying, okay, how is the information in the world showing up to teach me, to support me, to comfort me, to inspire me to be the best that I can be? So those of you, I'm feeling some of you who, are really resonating with this pile. Part of this experience for you is to know and understand your own peace, your own self, and who you are. And unless you're uncomfortable, change isn't going to happen. But things need to be consistent and persistent. How can you continue to show up to self-love, to the void, the balance of the shadow, the unseen, the programs? How do you continue to show up for these things, surrender to divine timing, calling on the angels, meditating on peace, claiming and owning that energy? Your vibration shifts to love. And how do you maintain that for a long period of time? The things that are opening up now and the awarenesses that are happening are supposed to be, they're gonna be here. We're not gonna go back to the way things were, because you're instantly gonna feel out of alignment. So how can you start claiming this and not thinking like, oh, this is only temporary, and what am I going to do when this happens and when that happens, and I'm fearful and I'm worried, which is a natural part of the human experience. It's normal to feel that way, but when you're present with it, you can certainly move yourself out of it faster by lessening the impact and speeding up the recovery process. All right. So those of you who chose pile 3, peace. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, if you felt the message, click that like button. If you have a story in the way that this resonated with you, please feel free to share it in the comments. It's always cool to read. If you know somebody that could benefit, a friend, a loved one, please share this message with them. And if you want to stick around, I'm going to close space. If not, thank you so much for watching. All right. I think it's so important to open space, close space. It's a really great practice to start. It keeps your energy clear. If you're starting to feel frustrated, or you start to feel ego, or you start to feel annoyances, definitely clear your energy, especially intuitives and healers. I cannot speak enough to how important it is for you to clear your energy, because you can certainly pick up frequencies, attachments, things like that. It happens. It's the laws of energies. It's not something to be fearful of, but it really can distort your own process. So this is why I think it's so important for me to open and close space on camera. So if you've stayed, thank you so much for watching. I am going to thank all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, God, source, creator of the universe, and all his holy beings of light that assisted. I want to thank the full moon in Scorpio frequencies, the Wesak full moon frequencies, and the power of the messages that came through these piles. And I'm going to ask that any healing that was started continue for as long as it needs to be done, in mind, body, spirit, and emotions in all ways. All right, friends. So I'm still available for video chats for divine guidance, life purpose, what else? Combo sessions, connecting with loved ones. If you just feel like you need some extra support, that's available in the link below. And click that subscribe button, because there'll be more like this that'll be coming out. So remember, I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine, trust your intuition, and I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now.